Good morning, everyone, and welcome to your week 4 Monday morning breakfast bite. Now, this week you have a little easier week. What we're going to be looking at this week is a discussion posting and a quiz. So you have quiz 2 and you have your week 4 discussion. For your quizzes, don't forget, keep copies of those because you can study for them. You can study from them for the midterm, which is coming up next week. Now, this week, what's going to happen is once I read everybody's team scenarios, I'm going to go ahead and pick 2 from them, and then I'm going to move those 2 forward, and then I'm going to assign teams to each side. So one team will be the defendant, and the other team will be the plaintiff, and we'll just start having fun with the whole project at that point. But before we get there, what we're going to be doing is this week we're going to be talking about, as you can see from the materials, trade secrets and contracts from a licensing perspective. So when we think about trade secrets, that's the last area of intellectual property that we're studying. And when we study trade secrets, what we're doing is we are looking at important information that gives a company a marketing edge. And so you don't want that information being given to anyone else. And I know that a lot of companies make jokes about it with commercials, and it's fun. But you look at Bush's Baked Beans, and you have the dog with hiding or wanting to give away the secret recipe and things of that nature. We have KFC secret recipe. We have Coca-Cola. We have Mr. Pibb. I mean, you can go on and on with these company recipes. And with Coca-Cola, you actually, what has happened is they have certain key employees that have certain ingredients, and those employees can't even ride together on the same plane, being transported the same way to a conference, for example, because if they lose both those employees, then there goes the ingredients, right? So you've got that aspect of it. And I know we talk about reverse engineering, but trade secrets are something that gives someone a competitive edge. And it doesn't just have to be a recipe. It could be your company processes, the way you do things, your style of doing something, your customer list, your clients, who are your clients, how you keep those lists, certain things that you do that give you a competitive edge. It could be a software program that you've developed that you don't want to patent or copyright, so you're keeping it secret because you feel that gives you a competitive edge. It could be just a number of things. If it's something that a company feels gives one a competitive edge, then it's considered a trade secret because you don't want to divulge. Now, if you have a recipe and you have all these different recipes and you decide you're going to create a recipe book out of it, well, you can't claim a trade secret because then what you've done is you've divulged that information. Can you copyright the book? Sure, you've got copyright protection, but then we go back to the copyright laws and protections that are afforded to somebody, which is the life of the individual plus 70 years. So you look at those things and you say, okay, well, what do I want to do with the information that I have? Do I want to keep it a trade secret? Do I want to copyright the information? Do I want to create a patent for it? It just depends. But if it's a trade secret, it is going to be governed by state law. We don't have a quote-unquote federal law, trade secret law. So you're looking at it from a state standpoint, and all states, well, Florida anyway, has laws regarding trade secrets on the books, so there are statutes actually in Florida regarding trade secrets. Now, you've got that competitive edge that kind of transfers us into the idea of licensing. So let's say you want to create a franchise, or you want to license your software, whatever it may be. What happens is you enter into a contract, which we call a license, with the person who is going to be utilizing that property. And it's intellectual property. It could be a trade secret, and you don't want that divulged. So they have to sign a non-disclosure, or the non-disclosure has to be part of the licensing agreement. You could have a franchise with a restaurant, and what happens is you have that intellectual property. So everything that you do with that contract from a licensing standpoint has a lot to do with intellectual property. And what it gives you the ability to do is say you can use my product that I am giving you. You can use this information in the way in which I tell you you can use it, because you're purchasing something that is of value to you and to me. But if you diverge from the specifics of this arrangement, then you may be inhibiting the quality of what I'm giving you, and then we can consider that a breach of the license. So for example, for McDonald's, you obtain a McDonald's license. You have to use all of McDonald's products. You have to use the ranch dressing that they have. You have to use the type of milk and product that they use to create their milkshakes. Same thing for their apple pies you have to do, and their Egg McMuffins. You can't run out of English muffins and go to the store and buy them. You're not allowed to do that because they use a certain type of English muffin. Same thing for their rolls. A couple of years ago, I went to KFC, and they were actually out of chicken, believe it or not. And I thought, how can you be out of chicken in your KFC? But they were out of it, and they couldn't go to the store and buy any more of it, so they couldn't actually sell their product on that particular day. Crazy, I know, but they can only get their chicken from KFC, and if the delivery truck couldn't make it for whatever reason, they didn't get their delivery that day, and they ran out of chicken. They couldn't go out and buy chicken from the store, because if they did so, they would be breaching one of their clauses in their license, and that would be a reason why KFC could come in and shut them down, which has happened to franchises. So you have to be careful with that. So the terms of the franchise are very important, and those are licenses. So you have a license, and a license is simply another form of a contract. So think about that when you're going through the material this week. If you have any questions, as always, do not hesitate to contact me. Otherwise, you all have a great week 4.